of the Marvel shows have been bad, okay?
None of them have been bad.
She-Hulk was the worst, but none of them have been bad.
Even if She-Hulk was the worst, I feel like that one had the potential, and still does. They need to put that out on ABC weekly. I feel like, I'm serious, but I'm saying that show has the potential to be like...
I'd rather the quality change a bit to be something that stands out from an ABC show.
I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I agree and I disagree. One hand, it could be better, but on the other hand, I feel like the formula and just the way it's packaged fits perfectly for... It's like a new girlish show. And I don't think that's a bad thing necessarily. You can complain about...
It's bad that it chooses to have so much content in it that the writers have no feelings for. They have no feelings for Law, and yet they choose to fill the show with Law. And they have no feelings for fights between the main character and some enemy, but they choose to fill the show with that.
Yeah, I do wish there was a little bit more Law stuff. Like,
if you're gonna do Law, do it like in a way that's entertaining and good.
Well, he did some of that with like Mr. Miracle, or wait, was that his name? The guy who kept killing himself with all those wives. That was a fun idea. Also, the Daredevil episode with Leapfrog, pretty good.
Daredevil episode doesn't count because that's Daredevil in it.
But they also have Leapfrog in it, which I feel like...
Yes, Leapfrog was great, but he's in the Daredevil episode. And the entire episode doesn't count because it was the only episode where they tried to do anything.
I don't agree with you. There are some stuff in the early She-Hulk episodes I do like a lot. I agree. Like, the finale is fun when you're watching it for the first time, but it turns literally like 80% of the stuff you just watch into air. Like, it's like it floated away.
Yeah, 100%. The ending decided this show was pointless. The ending decided none of this mattered. You shouldn't have watched this show.
Yeah, so it's like...
But yeah, just none of the content in that show were they like, we're passionate about doing this, we're going to do this really well. It was like, we got to put this in here, we got to put this in here.
Commercial coming up in less than a minute, but the biggest issue is, like, again, too expensive. If they spent a little less money, found a way to do a She-Hulk without having a CGI up that much,
she's in Hulk form most of the time without needing to be.
And they even wrote it into where she could change back and forth, so it's like, do less of the Hulk thing.
It's funny how they don't show her transform, and I don't know if they made a joke about how, like, that's more expensive somehow. They don't like showing people transform processing.
They did once.
They just like to show regular and then Hulk form. How's that more expensive? I don't get it.
So it's more expensive to show the transition of, first of all, those are the stuff I love to see the most, is seeing, like, from normal human to the Hulk person. The problem is, there's probably like 6 different shots they have to stitch together just to have that transition. That's one thing. So it takes a lot of time to do. Also, they have to make it look good. Like, they could do it. I don't know if it would look good, though. Whereas, you could just have someone working on a scene of She-Hulk doing something for weeks and weeks and weeks and just cut to it. And that's just cheaper. So that's why that's cheaper. But yeah, the Marvel shows. And that's another thing, though. I think the Marvel shows are more made for people to just pick up their favorite. Like, oh, you like Falcon and Winter Soldier? Just watch that. You interested in the idea of a Moon Knight? Just watch that.
I mean, I don't know. No, I disagree.
Why?
It can't be. Because Falcon and Winter Soldier weren't main characters. Wanda and Vision never got to be main characters. Loki was never a main character. Well, I mean, he's a villain. He was a big character, but he was never a protagonist before. Moon Knight didn't exist. Werewolf by Night didn't exist. Miss Marvel didn't exist. She-Hulk didn't exist. So
they didn't exist, but a lot of them were made...
Hawkeye was always a sidelined character. So none of them were like, oh, you're going to follow your favorite. It was, okay, we're going to make this guy your favorite every time.
Well, yeah. Make this guy your favorite. But also, since it was dealing with people that were in the movies, giving people a chance to,
Make him your favorite. Make him your favorite.
Also, but I'm saying a lot of them have different tones. Well, they all do.
Yeah.
Different tones and different... So, like, I could definitely see somebody watching She-Hulk and then being like, I like She-Hulk because of the new girly tone, but not wanting to watch any other shows because of that.
Okay, and see, with like, the Falcon and Winter Soldier is the only one where you could have guessed what the tone would be like based on the movies that the characters were in previously, because they were in Captain America movies, so you might have thought, oh, it'll feel spy thrillery. and you would have been basically right. That's what it is. Whereas WandaVision, you have no there's no pretense for what Wanda and Vision together looks like, except for one scene in Infinity War, and it doesn't feel like that at all. So it's something else. It's something completely different. And Loki, it's not like it's not like Thor.
I disagree with Loki. Yeah, it's not like Thor, but Loki was a fan favorite.
Okay.
Obviously, people were going for Loki.
Okay, but yeah, you wouldn't have guessed what the tone of Loki was going to be based only on what he was in before. Only Falcon Winter Soldier could you have guessed. So it's not like, oh, I know what flavors of Marvel I like, and I know what I'll get. You couldn't have known what you would get in Moon Knight.
But I'm saying for like general, like people who don't know as much. Also, it's like people are like, I like, but my problem is they're not promoting them in that such a way either. Though they're not showing Moon Knight as like, ooh, look at this like psychological, I don't even know what you call it, adventure movie. Kinda?
I'm not sure.
Because it's a lot of heady, like, sandy stuff, but also they go across the world.
Yeah.
With tombs and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it commits to keeping you confused about where mental illness ends and fantasy begins. I don't know what to call that, though.
Yeah, I don't either, but I like it. Moon Knight, I hope they don't give up on Moon Knight.
It's like what Legion was doing, but they didn't decide to drown you and strangle you in it.
Yeah, sometimes people love Legion.
I needed more cues from what was real in Legion, and they weren't given it. And I could not keep watching that show with how dedicated they were to confusion. I couldn't.
I remember watching Grandpa watching an episode one time when we were saving them for one time. I was like, if I don't understand what the fuck is going on, there's not a chance you know what's going on. But I still I do want to give it another chance, because also I feel like, I don't know, maybe, I don't know though. There are scenes in that show that I'm like, this didn't happen, did it? Did it happen? I don't know. But Legion seemed so cool. I wanted to be like a cool person that liked Legion, but I couldn't understand it. I don't know. But yeah. I'm trying to think of all the other shows. We need to finish Miss Marvel.
From the Marvels, yeah.
Yeah, for the Marvels, and just because Miss Marvel is still my favorite one. And Miss Marvel is closer to what I wish the other shows would do a little bit more of. But more delicately. Like I told you before, there's an episode of Miss Marvel that is incomprehensibly bad. It's like, I know what you're trying to do, but the way you're doing it sucks right now. And then the last episode, it's better than a lot of the other finale episodes of shows, but the CGI is atrocious and terrible. So it's like, but still though, it does, what Miss Marvel does really well is it leans extra hard in their cast, in their little group of characters there. And while the other shows do that, they throw everything away on the finale or whatever, for the most part. Whereas Miss Marvel goes back to that. It's like, all right, here's your stupid little CGI fight. All right, goodbye, and then goes back to the family stuff and wraps that stuff up in a good way. So yeah, and she's the only reason I even give a flip about the Marvels. Her and Monica Rambeau. It's like I don't want to trash on Brie Larson, because she is a good actress. She can be fun.
She's in Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah. I just feel like she's having a hard time as Captain Marvel.
They've given her no time as Captain Marvel. What are we talking about?
Exactly.
She hasn't had a chance to be Captain Marvel, except like one time, not even.
Yeah. So
I feel like they've been so like careful stepping, letting Brie Larson be Captain Marvel, because they're like, we're gonna get a lot of poop, and they did, and I don't think any of it was deserved, not even a little bit. I'll go as far as to say, people,
none of it was deserved.
The first Captain Marvel movie, people will remember it and they will talk about it as if it was so in your face. Captain Marvel, it's not. It isn't.
It is that with the Air Force in the movie, though.
No, it isn't.
A little bit, though.
What do you mean?
The way it shoots the Air Force scenes, I'm kind of like,
but there isn't an Air Force scene exactly. First of all, there aren't Air Force scenes.
Anytime
exactly.
she steps out to the tarmac it's like
literally that is what those are shots. Yes, there are shots in which she steps onto a tarmac.
Yeah, but it's shot like an effing recruiter commercial.
Well, I'm saying shots. There are no Air Force scenes in the movie.
Okay, I guess I get you.
There, you have shots. You have a guy being like, why they call it a cockpit, right? And then you've got her doing a test flight for that one lady who's actually an alien. There are no Air Force scenes in the movie.
Maybe that's another issue that people attack Captain Marvel for and Brie Larson for. Like, Captain Marvel does a whole lot of the misogyny thing.
It doesn't even do a lot of that. Captain Marvel does not do a lot of that.
Well, it does. I'm not saying it does a lot. I'm saying it does a lot for the people that hate on it. Like, I would not say 2 or 3 things that are realistically inserted in the movie that people experience or whatever is ridiculous.
Technically, I'll even go as far as to say, technically, there's none of it that's like set in stone. That's actually like even that line I said there, where the guy's like, why they call it a cockpit, right? It could very well have been. It'd be like, well, you see, in 1934, they had a plane, and it could. You don't know, right? And the other thing people say is like. And it's only ever symbolic, really, of misogyny you're supposed to be, is Jude Law's relationship with Brie Larson, where he's always telling her to keep her emotions in check. But also, he's a military leader. So, again, you have to be choosing, this is supposed to tell me the misogynists are bad, to say that it's what it means. There's the context. It makes it ambiguous. It could be something else. He is a military leader telling someone, like, oh, you're very good fighting. Just keep your emotions in check, which you would tell anybody.
That's true. That's true.
There's no content in there that it's like, oh, this is just bragging up, hitting on misogyny.
I mean, you're not telling me. You're telling the stupid people. But I do think because of that sort of stuff, that got Brie Larson some unnecessary hate.
Oh yeah, very much, a ton of unnecessary.
And then
complaint.
But I do also think because of some of that unnecessary hate, the way she now has to interact online does
right. She's like.
It feels like forced or safe, or
she has to posture online.
Yeah.
Because she knows what she's gonna get. Another thing is I'm seeing someone talk about Endgame, and they were like, man, why is she such a B word in it? Because in the beginning,
I think she's great in it. I love her more in Endgame.
In the beginning, she was like, I'm gonna go kill Thanos, and people were like, why is she being so rude? What?
Thanos just effed up the entire universe.
There's so much things in the context that make that such an invalid interpretation. First of all, for all she knows, she can kill Thanos, and
she probably could.
She could in the moment. She could. None of them know that for sure. But for as far as she knows, she can. She could just kill him. And second, what the Captain Marvel movie and her role in Endgame have done so well to say about her character is that she is such a team player. 100%. And people pretend, they take that line and be like, oh, she's all like Rambo on her own. Never has she been. All they say to her in that scene is, well, could you let us come? Like, literally, all they say is, we want to be there. And what would we see in the very next scene? She's reporting to Captain America, being like, yeah, Thanos is alone, vulnerable, I could easily kill him, figured I'd let you know. What do you want to do? Like, and in Captain Marvel, they make it clear that she can handle everything on her own. Like, Nick's picking a lock and she shoots it off, but she lets him do it. And he's like, why you let me do it? He's like, oh, because you wanted to. It's like, she doesn't need them around at all. And you could complain about that in the movie, like, oh, she has all these sidekicks she doesn't need. But the fact is, she likes working as a team with people.
Yeah, I get that.
That she doesn't need.
I get it. But that's also a Superman thing, probably. But also, but here's the thing. I think Superman would and I'm comparing you to Superman because I think they have the similar issues of being overpowered. It's like, if you could do it, just do it. I mean, but yeah, you're right. When she is like, I'm going to go kill Thanos, they're like, can we come? And she's like, yeah, come on. But, she could have just gone and done it.
Yeah, and she let Captain America call the shots, even.
Yeah, because he's captain. He was.
Shoshi!
Oh, yeah, but different team. I don't know.
Both captains.
She's captain of the Space Force. I don't know.
Bigger captain.
Probably, yes. Most definitely. But yeah. I mean, look, like we said, unnecessary hate. I don't love Captain Marvel more because the movie, just some structure. It's really literally just structurally effed up. But even then, it's not that bad, and I even appreciate some of the shifts they try. Like, I get the idea of what they were trying to do, and if it was done a little less clunkily, it could have been even really good. But it doesn't quite get there for me. And also, it came out at a stupid time. They honestly should have just I don't know if they could have just not done the movie.
And people complain about the montage in the movie where it's showing her from being a little kid, being told like that she can't do something and then trying anyway, and be like, "Ugh, girl power." Like that? No, that's just power. You could do that with a boy or a girl. Show that from a young age. Every time they fail, they try again, and it's a testament to character.
I actually love that part.
I
love it.
Yeah, it's a testament to character, no matter, regardless of gender. It's not a thing. It's not a woman power thing.
I actually even love the little part where it's like she falls down and then she gets up and it like cuts between all those times she had to get up. I like that part. I'm a sucker for, let's see the superhero when they were a kid and how they got effed up in some way. We gotta get on to the Flash, fella. We gotta give a little bit of time to it. I'm not gonna do this.
Wow.
Fine, I'll do it. Alright. We're gonna get to the Flash here in a minute.
Broadly, Marvel's shows on Disney Plus have been a B+ success in my book.
B+ success. I do think they shouldn't have come out as fast, but now I'm kind of like, when are we going to get to see continuations of some of these characters again if they don't come out again? They come out really fast. Yeah.
The people felt there was a deep oversaturation of Marvel content for a while, and that's fair. I feel like with Disney Plus, a lot of it was like, it's an experiment. You didn't know what was going to happen. You didn't know how things were going to work, and I think
COVID happened, which expedited everything.
Yeah. There was a lot of shaky ground they had to dance on, and it was like, you did okay.
And in theory, having all those Marvel shows, I think, is a good idea. I don't think they should have had the same output of movies, though. They probably should have. You could maybe keep all the shows and keep them, because it's TV anyway. But they should have slowed down on the movies. Don't put out, like, there's Black Widow, Shang-Chi, and Eternals. Those three came out in 1 year. Like, maybe when there's 2 shows going on, or 3 shows in 1 year, 1 movie. If there's 2 shows or 1 show, maybe then you could go 1 or 2 movies more, or whatever. I think that's how they should be doing it.
And one of the problems of having so many characters, though, is if you pick a reasonable rate of releasing stuff, you're not going to see some characters for a long time. But you're going to have it's going to be the Game of Thrones, where you go a whole season without Bran.
Yeah. And that's why I've been appreciating with how the shows have been structured. Like, we see Wong show up and appear peppered throughout.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, a little bit, like, I'm not saying do that with every character, but that's one thing that's, like, keeping a through line that is traceable. Like, you know where Wong was at one point to another point to the next point.
See, if Wong dies in Doctor Strange 3, you can't say you didn't get enough Wong.
Exactly.
He was in Shang-Chi a little bit. He was in She-Hulk.
Oh, man, I even forgot. Yeah, and he was in She-Hulk. I love that. I love it. And I love it, like, they've trained the audience now. When Wong shows up, it's like, Wong!
Yeah.
Yeah! I love Wong. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, what?
What?
What are you gonna say?
It's freaking crazy that She-Hulk kept saying, like, "Oh, this is my show. Okay, you're not gonna get a bunch of cameos. You get a bunch of cameos."
There were a bunch of cameos. I even liked what they did with Blumsky and She-Hulk.
Oh yeah, Tim Roth. He was great.
Great man.
They were like, "You're gonna like play this character, but like we don't remember who he was. Just be somebody. We don't remember. You don't remember. It's okay. Just be someone."
Even though you don't like She-Hulk that much, I like the tone. Like, the tone of it, I really do enjoy.
I don't think it has tonal issues. It just has writing issues.
Yeah, story issues.
Story issues.
But also, I feel like She-Hulk, because they even made a joke in the final episode being like, could you transform back to a human so we could save money and have people on another project?
It's funny.
I think that's literally true.
All right, but that was funny. I've always said, like, it's like with Deadpool, like any sort of production limitation you have, you could just make it a joke, and it becomes okay. That's funny. Like when the studio couldn't afford another X-Men. Like, yeah, and it works. It's not just
sometimes.
It's not just you're making excuses. It's like, no, that is actually kind of funny, especially if it's something you didn't need. Like, we didn't need to see her She-Hulk in that scene anyway, so it didn't matter.
True.
So it was like, you're saving money, but also it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And you made it a joke, so that's fun. And then, like, in Deadpool, it was the Deadpool movie. It didn't need to have all the X-Men in it anyway. So, and then in the second one where they show them, it was like, okay, that's just funny.
The this. We gotta. I want to rewatch both the Deadpool movies. I want to rewatch. In my mind, there's already a Deadpool trilogy.
Yeah, I've seen a few Deadpool 2 reactions, and I'm like, Deadpool 2 didn't quite get the rap it deserved, because it's...
But that's because I think the theatrical cut is significantly... Not bad. It's not bad. But I do think it is, for me, a whole letter grade lower.
Right, a bit neutered.
Yeah, whereas the Super Duper cut takes... First of all, they make way more MCU references in the Super Duper cut, which now... effortlessly, seamlessly goes into what's going on now. That's one thing. But also, they just sort of... They play with it a little bit more. It's like they did extra stuff. They're like, okay, all right, we're putting the movie out. Now let's take it back and put a couple more things in there. And they really kind of fleshed it out a little bit more. And I think Super Duper Cut is way better than...
Yeah. We gotta talk about Flash, you said.
Yes, we gotta get to Flash.